Hello, everybody. Jason of New 80's Revolution Cave. Random show today. Random show that is not part of the lineup or part of the shows that we've been doing lately. You know, I was sitting around last night and I was thinking about, I don't know, just randomly I was thinking about cable TV. And then I know why, because I watched, a couple episodes of Monsters, and like I've talked to you about in the past, Monsters and Tales from the Dark Side and Freddy's Nightmares and shows like that remind me of 80s cable TV because for in my brain they're just connected. So then that led to me watching, going down the YouTube rabbit hole and watching old bumpers from the 80s, TV channel bumpers, and then that leads to watching 80s commercials on YouTube, and then that got me thinking about some foods of the 80s that I maybe don't necessarily miss or yearn for today, but just foods that popped into my head. So, 5 foods from the 80s that just jumped into my head. That's all. Jumped into my head. I think in some of the cheaper stores, one of these is still available. It's a brand of potato chip or, snack chip. And I think I've seen them at, the Big Lots type stores or the Family Dollar type stores. I think I've seen them. I think they've come out of the big grocery chains and they've gone to like smaller, convenience store type stuff. Maybe. I haven't looked for them. Maybe I'll look for them. But 5 foods from the 80s that just popped into my head. 5 foods from the 80s that I don't think are around anymore. 5 foods from the 80s that I miss. Or just 5 random memories of 80s foods. The first one, I have always been looking for, not memorabilia, but advertisements for this, like a magazine ad or, a print ad or something like that, a commercial. And I think that this first one is probably one of the rarest 80s foods. I don't know if that's a fact, and I don't even know what that means, but I had these in my brain. I had these once in 48 years of living. I had these one time. I think we bought them once. I don't think they were of very good quality, and we rejected them going forward. Even as a kid, I was, every kid's a big fan of hot dogs. But as a kid, I couldn't have the cheap hot dogs. And I know that all hot dogs are cheap, but I couldn't have the chicken hot dogs. I couldn't have the turkey, the chicken pork turkey. Those are your $1 discount store hot dogs. That's your, we're scrounging up our pennies here to get the kids some lunch. We're not going to buy the good beef hot dogs. We're going to buy the chicken turkey pork combo, and those are 99 cents, right, for like 25 of them, right, because they're junk. And no matter how you cook them, whether you fry them, whether you boil them, no matter what you do, I always hated the chicken pork turkey hot dogs. I had to have beef even as a kid. And we ate a lot of hot dogs as kids. We ate a lot of hot dogs and macaroni and cheese. That was a staple of lunch for us. I would get hot dogs in school. I would get hot dogs if I went out, to a carnival or to a amusement park. So I would get hot dogs. I just loved hot dogs. I still do. And one year, and it had to have been between 84 and 86. But I would think more around 85. There was a product that came out, and I always thought they were called Frankenweenies. But they were not called Frankenweenies. That was just the Mandela effect in my brain. I looked them up, and they were actually called Frankenstuffs. Frankenstuffs were hot dogs that were stuffed with chili. And they were like, Frankenstein gimmick hot dogs, and they were called Frankenstuffs. They, when I first saw them, in our house or advertised, I probably thought this is going to be one of the greatest experiences of life. And we got a pack. We got a pack of Frankenstuffs, and they were awful because they were the cheap, chicken, pork, turkey hot dogs, and the chili inside was pasty, and it was, how much chili they're going to put in these things. They put like a little dollop of chili in those things, and so they actually were a bust. And I never had Frankenstuffs ever again, and they did not last long on the market, I'm sure, because I don't ever remember seeing them again, and I couldn't even remember the name, and I can't find commercials for them or anything. It was hard just to find a picture on Google of Frankenstuffs. So I miss those. I don't miss those. I don't miss those. But those are definitely that is an absolute 80s food that really came and went in the 80s, and in my life only hit one time. Cheese dogs were kind of new back then, and I liked those. Now you can get them, you can get the cheese sausages and the beer brats and the beer cheddar sausages. But back then, 85 or so, cheese dogs were coming out. And that's not cheese that's slathered all over your hot dog. That's a cheap hot dog, your chicken, pork, turkey combo that has bits of cheese in it. And when you would cook it, obviously the cheese would melt and you'd get a cheesy hot dog. I remember the hot dog tasting awful, and I remember the cheese tasting awful. These are not high quality items here, folks. So Frankenstuff came and went. In the 80s, food trends obviously continued from other decades, but eating out and fast food and ordering in, I think, became more of a thing in the 80s. It got its legs in the 80s. It grew in the 80s. It morphed into what it is today from the 80s. I can't prove it, but I don't think a lot of people ordered in the 70s, 60s, 50s, and so on. I think that also began in the 80s. And there was a food concept that I think started in the 80s. Two jump out. One is French onion soup. French onion soup, I think, became a superhero in the 80s. It became this thing that you had to have in the 80s. You would get it at restaurants. You would order it in. French onion soup. But another one that stands out more is potato skins. So potato skins became, a food icon in the 80s, and everybody wanted potato skins. And all potato skins are you slice the potato really thin, where you have a little bit of potato and more skin, and then you fry them, or you cook them in oil, you bake them, you do whatever you do. But the toppings of the potato skins are what makes them what they were. All the bacon, all the cheddar cheese, all the sour cream, the onions, the green onions cut up. There was a restaurant in town called the Ground Round, and the Ground Round when you ordered in, you'd get potato skins in a white styrofoam cup with a lid on it, and you would open that lid and there'd be globs of cheese and sour cream, all with these potato skins, bacon all over them. Bacon bits, folks, were born in the 80s, but bacon all over these potato skins. And my mom would order them. She would just have an order of potato skins, and she would just eat them, and my uncle would come over and he'd bring potato skins. And I just remember potato skins were all over our house in the 80s. That led to a snack that is on the list, and this is the snack that exists today. But the popularity of potato skins in the 80s led to the creation, I think Keebler did it. The snack was called Tato Skins, and they were, I guess, potato chips, but they were potato skin flavored. So you'd get cheese and bacon flavor. You'd get probably the sour cream and onion flavor. And they were thicker potato chips shaped kind of like a potato, kind of like the silhouette of a potato, right? Just just kind of like that oval football shape, and crispy and flavorful and salty and delicious. And I think that happened because of the popularity of restaurant potato skins. Tater skins still exist today. Tater skins still exist today. And I've been eating wheat a little bit more here and there with no reaction. So I might have a little tater skin coming up soon as I can explore other foods and whatever. But actual potato skins were hot. That led to the potato chip called tato skins, right? Or tater skins. I'm not sure which one. I'll have to look it up. We've always talked about the importance of cereal in a kid's life. We've always talked about the Saturday morning routine of cartoons and cereal. We've talked about the before school routine of cereal. But one thing I actually do miss is pop culture themed cereal. So cartoon themed cereal. Toy themed cereal. I miss that a lot. And I've been buying, I still buy a lot of cereal. I like cereal as a snack at night. So I am up and down the cereal aisle. And so this is not a case of, well, it still exists. You're just not looking for it because you're not a kid. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. There are no cartoon or action figure themed cereals at all. There's kids cereals, sure. There's still Fruit Loops and Apple Jacks and Tony the Tiger and that deal.
Person.
Huh?
The wolf person.
The wolf person?
There's a wolf. There's a wolf guy for like chocolate cereal.
Oh yeah. There's still the the Frankenberry and the Count Chocula and that stuff. But there's no Pac-Man cereal. There's no WWF cereal. There's no Smurf cereal. There's no Nintendo cereal. There's no Donkey Kong Mario cereal, right? There's no Mr. T cereal, right? There's no cereals that have anything to do with children's toys or children's cartoons because really we don't have children's toys and children's cartoons anymore, unfortunately. So we don't see that stuff. So I miss the I miss the theme, Ghostbusters cereal, Star Wars, the C-3POs cereal. What a brilliant marketing tool. What a brilliant marketing gimmick just to push this and promote this on children so much. I have so much respect for that kind of marketing because it worked and it was selling stuff. And it all stems from cartoons. If you don't have cartoons, you don't have toys, you don't have kids cereal, you're not hammering that demographic, and it's sad, and I miss it. So cartoon cereal, action figure cereal, I miss a great deal. And you know what? I don't miss the way they tasted. I mean, they were all the same. They were all puffs of corn with berries in them, or marshmallows. It was, I'm pretty sure that Pac-Man cereal tasted exactly the same as WWF cereal or whatever. The final thing that I truly do miss, and I really wish that I could have them, were Jell-O pudding pops. I really, really liked chocolate banana Jell-O pudding pops. I think that there was something really unique about the texture of that ice cream and the mouth feel. And I know that sounds really weird, but it was almost like it was a custardy ice cream, right? And it was just, I don't know, it was just such a summer memory. It was Jell-O pudding pops. And again, I loved the chocolate banana. It was a chocolate banana swirl all throughout the pudding pop. You could get chocolate. I don't know if they had vanilla, but chocolate banana was it. And I think they even had plain banana too. Loved it. I just loved the way the ice cream felt. I loved the texture of the ice cream. I loved the flavor. They were super flavorful. I remember there was always kind of a layer of ice or almost skin on the pudding pop, right? Because we talk about having a pudding skin. I remember the pudding pop having a bit of a shell, almost like an outer layer of skin that didn't last long, but it was there. There was something there. And maybe it was ice. I don't know what it was, but it was there. Frankenstuffs, potato skins, tater skins, cartoon cereals, and Jello pudding pops. 5 foods of the 80s that still hit the old heart and bounce around my brain from time to time. Put yours below. We'll think of 5 more. We'll do it again. We'll see you next time. Good night now.